This is a Signal 161400 cool spot fan. It was made in 1956. It's a little bit later model than any of the others I have. I'm actually not keeping this fan. It's going to be going to a coworker of mine. The paintwork and all that is in pretty good shape on this, and we'll give you a quick side shot of the way this looks now. And it's, you know, the typical, it looks like the other 16-inch Signal fan that I showed everybody earlier. It's got the kind of smallish motor and kind of a largish base. And what is different about this is that the switch is mounted to the side instead of being mounted on the back. The wiring on this fan is actually all original. It's got the twisted pair cloth wrapped wire that goes from the motor, or sorry, from the motor down to the base and the speed control that's in there. The speeds on this fan are controlled by a speed coil that's mounted in the base. It's a transformer type speed coil, and it's got a 3-speed switch. We'll give you a quick back view of this fan. And the motor on this is actually pretty well ventilated, and while some of these Signal motors tend to run pretty hot, this one is pretty much the same way. It runs just slightly cooler, I'd say, than most. It's not so hot that you can't leave your hand on it for more. You can actually leave your hand on this for more than 2 seconds, and it doesn't feel like it's going to burn you. When I had this apart to service the motor and get inside it, you know, change the grease in the gearbox and all that, I noticed that the windings were really nice looking. They're like bright, shiny copper. They look like, you know, like a bright, shiny penny inside, basically. So that means the motor is electrically in very good shape. And this fan was quite clean inside. We changed out the grease in the gearbox. We changed it out with some Lubriplate white lithium grease, and I also gave the rear bearing a good shot of Zoom spout oil. So the rear bearing and the gearbox shouldn't need attention for several years because Lubriplate's really good grease. We're going to turn this back around to show the front. And like I said, this looks pretty much like all of the other 16-inch cool spot that I showed you. The only slight difference it has is the badge is kind of an embossed badge that says Cool Spot by Signal. That's there in the center of the guard. But the guard design itself and the way the blades look, those are all pretty much the same. One thing that is notable about these blades is they're not very deeply pitched. They tend to rely on RPM rather than pitch to deliver their airflow. But they deliver a pretty decent amount of airflow, even without that pitch. And even though they spin at a pretty high RPM, they're a pretty quiet operating blade. So this is a good fan. We're going to go ahead and turn it on now. The first speed is high. And this thing puts out quite a breeze on high. I don't know if you can hear the wind in the microphone or not. But that's what high sounds like. It's got this, you kind of hear a little bit of blade noise, and you can kind of hear the motor as well. It's just got a little bit of a faint shaded pole hum to it. The next speed down is medium. And you can see it's got a nice step down in speeds from high to medium. As noted before, you can kind of hear the motor a little bit more prevalently on this speed. It's got that, again, that little shaded pole whine that these fans are kind of known to have. And that's medium speed. Now we're going to turn it down to low. Now low is a nice step down, and it takes the fan down to a nice moderate RPM. That is still fairly quiet, but still delivers a nice breeze. One thing of note on this fan is the switch was a little bit dirty when I first got it. It was, if you ran it on high speed, you couldn't really get it to kind of get into the gate. And if you'd move it around, you could hear the motor kind of losing its connection. I cleaned the switch out with a product called Caig's DeOxit. And that stuff works really well. It's a product that I recommend if you've got a switch that acts up or acts funny, because it made this switch really nice. It snaps cleanly into all of its detents and into all the speed settings, and it really works cleanly. It's made it like it's a new switch. So that's my 1956 Cool Spot 161-400. I hope you enjoyed this video. More fan videos to come. And Barbara, this is the fan that I've got in mind for you, so I'll show it to you tomorrow. Later, guys.